good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on which part of the world you're listening from. And welcome to the Psychic Training Ground. Today, I wanted to speak with one of my good friends, Joe, about the ABE live seminar that we had yesterday. For those of you who participated, I think you'll agree with me that it was the most amazing experience ever. For those of you who don't know, Abraham, who runs seminars across the US, they figure 8 across the United States and sometimes travel to other countries. But their seminars take place in person. Usually it's Jerry and Esther on stage, or Esther's on stage channeling Abraham and Jerry's to the side taking notes. And there's about anything from 2 to 5 to 600 people in person sitting with them in a room. And they have their question and answer session as usual. Now, Abe has stepped it up a notch and have offered it to the world, all through online streaming. So Abraham Live is literally Abraham Live. It's them going on air to the world. And yesterday was the first seminar that they did, and it was absolutely amazing. Basically what happened was it was 9 a.m. Phoenix time till about 1 p.m. Phoenix time. For us in the UK, I think that made it about 5 p.m. in the evening till 9 p.m. and it was really great. The energy there was phenomenal. They had moderators on standby just to help out with any technical issues that came up. They brought people up to the hot seat, and that was transmitted to each of our computers everywhere we were. So it was absolutely amazing, really something to experience. And I think they're going to do a lot more of these, hopefully. If you go to their website, abraham-hicks.com, then they'll have the updated website with all the news and coming dates. Hopefully they're going to be a lot more. At this present time, what happens is you just sign up in advance. You pay via Google checkout. They send you an email link, and when the show goes live, you click on it, and it takes you to a video screen, and you get to play and watch it with everyone else. And the energy that was in the chat room, because there's a chat room that happens before the sessions, during the sessions, and afterwards, the chat room was just full of so much wonderful energy. It was going so fast that we couldn't, I couldn't keep up with it. It was just so absolutely phenomenal. So that's how it worked. Hopefully we've got Joanna. So, how have you been since we last spoke? How's your week been, first of all?
It has been great. There's been a lot going on, and I'm trying to get up to speed with my vortex, I guess they would say. It's like lots going on, and I have a creative mind, so...
Yeah, let's go straight to that. How was it for you? When did you sign up for it, first of all?
I signed up for it as soon as I heard about it. You know, I was in a North LA workshop about a month ago where they streamed it out live to members, just members who were on their MP3 mailing list, and that was kind of exciting. And then, so to see this one, which I know was a rare opportunity to be at a live seminar like that for, you know, for the money that we paid, was incredible. And I love that they had a chat box alongside of it that was just screaming. You couldn't even read the message so fast. So it was somewhat like a Panama Canal cruise reunion, slash, you know, just a lot of energy with them in the room. So it was fabulous.
No, it was amazing, because I mean, there's been a lot of talk of the online live event, but I wasn't sure when it was happening, and I got an email from some friends of mine, well, friends of friends, and then I thought, oh, that'd be nice. And then obviously the more emails came through from Abraham Hicks, and I thought, I just have to do that. It's so exciting, because for me, you know, obviously a lot of Londoners and UK people are saying, when's Abraham coming over to London again? And so we're not sure if or when they are. But obviously we fly over for the cruises, and that's part of the experience, the whole traveling and the holiday, and it's such an honor and experience to be able to go over to the States and experience that with them. But it's so convenient, these live things. I mean, because I was working, I literally came off a night shift, turned on my computer and watched it, and then got ready for work. So for me, that was absolutely amazing. And I thought, well, maybe I have some of the energy that the DVD had, we'll see how it goes. But for me, it was, almost as good as being there, if not better, because it was just so convenient.
And then they let us play it. Well, we still actually have access to it today. So
I know, till 2 a.m.
Yeah, 24-hour access remaining, so that even if you were, for some reason, distracted in the beginning, you can play that segment over, which I love. But, I felt honored to be, and they even mentioned this, too, that we were the first. And
and best.
Yeah, exactly. I felt honored to be a part of that, but also at the same time, you know what that meant to them to be attempting to do this for the very first time, and so I felt part of this collective energy that was going to make it work. It just felt like we were all so focused on having this be a great event, and I must honor Esther for, because there's still the human element to this thing, but for her, I know she puts a lot of pressure on herself to do a great job, and this had to be she might have had to take a little bit of extra time, clearing her mind. So she did a fabulous, everything was perfect from where I sit, so it was great.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. Have you been to many of the seminars in person, or?
I've been to several. I live in the San Francisco area, or Sacramento, California. So I've been to a couple of down in the Bay Area, and I went to one out in Dallas, and then I've been on a couple of cruises. So whenever I can, and then I do the monthly subscription as well. For me, there's when you listen to the information, a lot of times it seems very simple, but when you're and it's all perfect, makes perfect sense. But when you apply it to your everyday life, sometimes it's difficult or challenging. And so I like to pop those CDs in with, so I'm kind of a little bit of an Abraham junkie, and so
yes,
I'm always going to have it in my CD or whatever. So
yeah, no, because my YouTube channel, Abe Hicks, I use the same name in the chat room, and people are like, oh, thank you for your videos, and I was so touched, because obviously all my work goes up there of the editing that I've done for them, and all these shows got there as well, so, it's literally like thousands of viewers for this show, and that's really amazing, because what I probably said last week is that when I spoke to everyone I've interviewed, various people, whilst it's the same basis of teaching, if you were speaking to them and you were trying to work it out, you wouldn't be able to tell, because it's so individualized. Everyone's got their own take on these particular teachings, or any teachings in general. So it's really, what I love about it is everyone internalizes it, applies it in their own way, and delivers it to everyone else. And that's what Abraham has said, because people have said to them, well, I'm just teaching your work, basic, I'm just regurgitating it. And Abraham said that's not quite true, because you teach it from your perspective, and not everyone's at the same vibrational level. So you'll be able to hit those at the levels that they won't be able to hit, and vice versa. And that's what I love about all of this work.
Exactly, and you get that sense even when I've had only one opportunity to be in the hot seat. But even when you're in the hot seat, at least when I was sitting there, I had this feeling as though I was asking for a lot of people and hearing an answer for a lot of people. So you really get clear that there's different. It's just like even if you go to a movie at the theater, there are other people that would not even be able to relate. So people that are seeking Abraham work and seeking your show right now are absolutely leading edge people that are really seeking this information. And so that's kudos to you too, Nick.
And you and us all. It's magnificent co-creation, and that's what you hit the nail on the head when you hear it different times, because clips that I've listened to from day one, which I've heard like literally hundreds of times, I listen to it now and I'll hear it from a completely different perspective, because I'm a different person than I was a year ago, 10 years ago, even a day ago. Abraham was, I think they got questioned a little bit on our cruise about, how they choose people, why they choose people. And Abraham has said each time someone steps into the hot seat, it's like we're talking to a new person, even if they've been several times in the past, or even on that very same cruise, because you're always in a different vibrational vicinity, and it's constantly fresh, and it's like, and all they do is, where do you want to be? Shine a spotlight on it, help you get over there, and that's all they do. I mean, they don't seem to credit themselves with a lot, but and it's not, but it is at the same time. It's phenomenal that the work that they do and we do, and everyone's just so co-creative and co-connected with all of this that it's truly leading edge.
Well, I think the other thing that really brought it home is the fact that they always say that the information that is coming is because of our asking, and that we are evolving very quickly. And what I loved hearing was even them describing yesterday, they were writing and they're streaming,
yes.
Channeling a new book to Esther. It's called Spiritual Revolution, and they've had to start the book 4 times because each time the material is changing, and that's how fast we're changing and growing. And so it's exciting to think that by our asking, we are evolving at a great, very fast pacing rate here. So that's, I'm always patting myself on the back for having attracted this work.
No, it's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, they said to Esther, just take 10 days when you have nothing to do, and we'll churn this book out and send it out, because it's constantly changing.
Exactly.
So, Joe, there were quite a few people who were on my Facebook, and just generally, they either couldn't make the event or they didn't even know it was going on. So I thought it'd be nice if you wanted to cover for a little bit either what you took out of it, we could break it down person by person, or the main concepts that came across to you. And then we'll bring Janine on, because she wasn't able to attend, but, we'll have a chat with her and anything that she wants to cover. So, so it's up to you how you want to run the review.
I do have, I did take quite a few notes, and so I did have a lot of I don't know how you want to tackle this either, but first of all, I guess I'm assuming that your audience knows what a vortex is, but just very briefly, your vortex is everything that you've ever wanted in your life, and you have been kind of, they use the analogy of a swirling vortex of creation of all of the things that you've wanted and have desired at one point or another. And so our challenge is always to raise our vibration, come into our own personal alignment, and all of those things are available to us. And so the first section that they talked about, which was a fabulous analogy, was about the woman who was pregnant. And again, it's funny because I had the two things that I think they talked about greatly yesterday were the baby analogy as well as the Panama Canal one, and I had I was at both of those events, and so
wow.
The woman in North Los Angeles, she told the story of how she had been trying for years, and so Abraham was saying that you're already pregnant. This is like whatever we're trying to create right now. We're already pregnant with it, but just because we can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. And so she talks about, it said you are already pregnant with all of that. Just like when you were pregnant, the baby is there, you just can't see it yet. And they talk about you should be in the joy of the creation and the joy of it without needing to see it right now. And so that's kind of a really neat thing for me, because as I'm embarking on writing this book, it can be challenging, kind of, when I get into my head thinking, oh, what is it going to be about, and how's it going to go, and all this. But they are talking about fast forwarding to who's going to be reading your book, and what are they going to be getting out of it, and how fun it is going to be to create it. And it's sort of like being pregnant with an idea that hasn't happened yet. So the woman who is pregnant, yes, she has a baby. It hasn't manifested in real life yet, but she can still talk about how she's going to play with the baby, and how is everybody going to be dawdling over the baby, and what's the baby going to be doing, what's the baby going to be saying. And so that was an interesting, they're very good at analogies, which I love. So they are being in the creation of it and not needing it to manifest immediately. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I remember that question, well, at least they mentioned at the time that I remember, is that a gentleman, got in the chair and said, I want to speak about cash and abundance. And Abraham had said, it might not seem like this analogy is quite what you're after, but trust us, it fits perfectly. And they went to speak about the lady who wanted to get pregnant, and she was really, I don't think she was happy. And then X amount of weeks later, she found out she was, and she was happy. And Abraham are like, well, she's happy because she's pregnant, but she doesn't have the child yet. So yeah, again, like your vortex, it's all waiting for you, and you just have to get happy along the way. They really stress that you just have to get happy and allow the manifestation to go, and then, you know, that'll sort itself out.
Yeah, one of their quotes one of the things they said yesterday was, what's holding people back is being so concerned about the manifestation of it rather than the alignment of it. Stop taking score of what is. Get generally feeling good, and the vortex will take you in. And this lead-in story of the baby was, she had been trying and trying for years. I mean, they'd done insemination, and they've tried everything. And she finally just said, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my life, and maybe the baby's not meant to be. And soon after that, she got pregnant. So that's a classic story for a lot of people who are trying to get pregnant, and it's a great analogy for a lot of things that we may be trying to create and we keep pushing against and laboring, but really we just need to trust that it's already done.
I mean, I'm no fertility expert. I don't know anything about that, but I have heard that story come up again and again, just generally in life. I mean, I think even Sex and the City, Charlotte was, you know, trying desperately. And when she let go, not only did she get her ideal husband in the end, which wasn't exactly how she pictured him, because she had this, like, it has to be like this and it has to be like this. But when she let all of that go, she got pregnant, I think. And she got her ideal husband. So it is, again, letting go. And this leads to another point that they made, which just popped into my head, which was like, when you can let go of the specifics of it, then the universe will please you in so many different ways. And because you're in the place to receive it, you will recognize it. Whereas if you're not, then all these good things will happen, but you will go past it because you won't be able to pick it up because you're so kind of blinkered. And like, just relax a lot, just let it go and let it come to you, and it will. Trust.
Yeah, and they talked about the definition of surrender is letting go of resistance. So, you know, a lot of people tend to think of the word as surrender as giving up or you know, somehow that it's a negative meaning, but really it is just meaning surrender to letting go of the process, and it will come. So, and I say that this is a very conceptual, easy to conceive of idea, but in everyday practice, when you're used to, you know, the world tells us the harder we work, the more no pain, no gain, and all the analogies, and then this is contrary to that, but I have seen it work in my everyday life, and this is just a small example, but this morning, I really enjoyed dance for me, and you know that, Nick, from the love it. So, but it really is a way for me to kind of move my body and listen to the music in kind of a sort of a meditation, because you can't really think of anything else while you're working on dance steps or you're listening to music, and I have been wanting to you know, maybe start a women's group or have as part of it like a class for women where we can dance and move. And I was looking for someone interested in doing that, and I went today, and this instructor was like the perfect fit. I mean, she's just this high energy person, and she just is, you know, we talked for a long time after, and it's like you've already asked for something, just trust that it will come. And you know, that's what they talk about is step one is asking, and step two is letting the universe cue it up, and three is allowing it to come. And so that is just kind of really cool when it actually starts happening.
I know, isn't it? And it's so wonderful because you'll just come across these people, and for me, it is so next logical step. It just is like, because somebody commented on my YouTube that I think they're obviously quite new to this, and they said, my big desires, how does all this work? I don't think it's working for me. My big desires haven't come. And I said, well, I think that's where the problem lies. It's these big desires. When it feels like a big desire, like $1 million or £1 million or soulmate forever marriage, these things, if you're not vibrationally up to speed with it, they can seem a bit like too big. And that's what any of the processes do. It's just getting into a believability And once you believe, you'll get it, and you just have to trust that everything is working out for you, as they say. It's all working out for me, and only good lies before me, and all those kind of affirmations are based around that.
Exactly, and we're right on track here, because I was just looking at this line that said, just because you know what you want doesn't mean you're ready for it. So stop efforting. It's like we the energy also we have to be in a vibrational alignment to receive it as well. And so it's like the other comment was, everything in your consciousness cannot be expressed at the same time, and that's along with the same thing about you're not ready to see it, or you're not up to speed with it yet. So just because you have the idea, you can, put that aside for a minute, know that it's on its way, and then enjoy the process of watching it come into fruition. Creation is the discovery of what you've created, they said.
That is absolutely amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it is. It was, and the other one I loved yesterday was when the woman who was in just absolutely, you could just tell when she was speaking of it, she loves her work of working with horses and using people to, showing them how to come into alignment by using horses. And she loves her work, but she hates the business and the administration side of it. And so she was like, well, what do you do about that? And this comes into play in many people's. We love to create. We may be in that part of it, but if we're also running a business, there's that, and this is true for me, I don't like the yucky paperwork and the money, and I don't like the clerical stuff, but, so it was really good for me to hear that, she asked, well, what, when the horses don't feel like, doing their work for that day, what do? And they said, she says, well, they go out and graze, and she says, well, then go with them.
Yeah, no, I do remember that line.
Take the day off, say later dater to whatever it is you're pushing against right now, and wait till you're in alignment with doing it. And, you may say, well, I'll never be in alignment with doing my paperwork. But it isn't true, because I've seen that too, where, okay, I can handle that right now. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes, you can line up with it, and it becomes a good thing to, just avoiding the resistance. Go out and say, let's data right now, but come back to it later. So,
and that's what they've been really pushing these days, especially of late. That's what I've heard and started doing myself. It's wait till you're in a good place and then do what you have to do. And they explained the Lady Gator thing for Esther was something that rhymes. It sounds fun. It sounds silly. It makes her laugh, and it just reminds her just to let it go until she's ready to deal with it. And that's the kind of push behind the teachings at present. It's very much get in the vortex, let it go, and then when you're in a better place, go deal with it. Because I remember them saying something like, it's the easier way, and that is how you bring things to you faster, to keep in a good space. They're very, 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 very big proponents of that at the moment.
Revel in what's working. I like that line too. Revel in what's working, look at what's working. And stop looking at the things that aren't working, and they will come into alignment. And that was another thing. I think they went right into that about healing and speaking about because of the massive size of these horses, and they are in total alignment. That anyone in their presence has an infusion of their well-being, which makes it easier for a receptive being to cause them to raise their own vibration. So that's another thing. And even when you think about being on that collective program yesterday, when there's a collective energy, powerful collective energy of well-being, and I loved when they were speaking about, because animals seem to do what we're trying to do very effortlessly, and so when you think about the size of a horse and they're just running free, and they, that just being in their presence can cause a person to raise their own vibration. And they've talked about that before. That is what the definition of healing is. It's influencing someone into their own well-being.
Yeah, I think the quote that I pulled from that was, the horses are a mass of flesh who know their well-being and radiate it.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly. And they do teach you, just because they're infectious. Even a dog, you love your pet. I mean, it's like you love your pet so much you can't even keep from being in the vortex when you're with your pet. So it's like, that whatever works to get you there. I love that. Let's see what else I have on here. It was manifestation versus alignment is what I had. It's like, what's holding people back is being so concerned about the manifestation rather than being in the alignment of it. And that was what we talked about a little bit earlier, but more of that. And really, no matter what the topic is, it's all the same. Whether it's money, whether it's your job, whether it's losing weight, whether it's finding a mate, it's all about us coming into our own alignment and then get in the vortex and then. So sounds easy.
A little harder in practice. They retold the analogy of the locks in Panama, because basically they said they opened the second session, I think, with this, and they speak about very much about moving incrementally. The Panama locks is, you can't get this huge cruise ship to jump, 80 or whatever plus feet to get from one level to the other. It's in stages, and they said this is like vibration. Vibration is in stages, and they said where you are is where you are, and that's so deep, but it's so true, and they really honed in on that as well. They said, there's two ways to look at your manifestation or where you're going. Either look at what's around you, and that's a reflection of your vibration, or how does it feel. And they said, acknowledge where you are, observe, and launch the rocket of desire of what you do want. Move there bit by bit. It's impossible for the ship to jump straight from the lower lock to the higher lock, and there are millions and millions of bajillions of locks out there into your vortex, so bit by bit in stages. And they said, that's what we should try to do, just go bit by bit and take it easy.
And this was, it says your vortex will call you in when you're ready and willing to receive it. So it's just about getting in the general vicinity, and your vortex will sweep you into whatever it is. Get generally feeling good, and the vortex will take you there. What you're discovering is your capacity to allow the goodness to flow to you. Some of these things they say are just like, they're so refreshing to hear, and you can just feel the tenseness in your body when you hear something. It's like, I really don't have to do anything, it's done, and easing into that first lock and getting comfortable there, and then the water rises the 84 feet, and then the ship moves into the next lock. And it's funny, that particular day was my birthday, and we arrived in that area like 6 in the morning, and we were all out dancing the night before, and so, but I knew I wasn't going to miss that, so I did get up, and I went and sat up on the ship, and, you can't feel a thing when that ship is raising and moving and raising. It's just, and that's how this process is, too. It's like, our challenge is just to continuously keep ourselves in alignment with who we are, and keep ourselves feeling good and doing whatever we need to do to be happy, and the rest of it gets taken care of itself. The next thing you know, you're in the next lock, and then you're in the next lock, and that was an amazing day for me for a lot of reasons. Just be on that ship and just, I mean, I can't tell you. It's that show in itself right there, but.
Good memories. They also spoke to a guy, I think he was the second person in, and he's like, well, I'm a manager, I have employees, but what do I do if I don't want to be around them? Because it's easy for me to get rid of them if I want. And Abe did that little skit that they do, that they've done quite recently with their affirmation cards. They grab their money and the law of attraction cards, and they make fun of them. And they say, well, in the negative vibration and the negative emotion, you're more likely to stick there. So when you read something happy and positive, you're just going to dismiss it and, say that's a pile of rubbish. And only when you get in your vortex will these things start to make sense. And they also spoke about a new game that everyone's really loving, and it's my 10 favorite things about. So it's basically a list of positive aspects, but more kind of jazzed up. I think Esther was walking along with Jerry for something, and she's like, my 10 favourite things about it, and Joe was just going to have to sit there and listen to her do it whether he liked it or not. And that's what it is, my 10 favourite things about it. And that's a nice quick game that we've picked up that I'm going to use in my groups, and I think Abraham picking up quite quickly, isn't it?
It's a really quick way to shift your thinking on just about any subject. And when they were talking to that gentleman, I believe it was an employee that he was just really having a hard time with, and he knew from enough experience with the law of attraction that he needed to come into line with this. But his question was, how do I do that? This person is very, very challenging to me and challenging to other employees. But, their comment was, which I love, is, well, yes, you can fire them, but you know what? Another one's going to come right along. and that's true, It's not about just getting rid of the problem. It's about how you choose to deal with it. And so, and I don't know if that was at the same point, but that same, the little game can be applied to just about anything. It's okay, well, what is good about this situation? And many times when you do a game like my 10 favorite things about whatever, things start to look differently, and that particular person might not be so active in his vibration. It's like he keeps looking at that situation as being difficult, and then it keeps being difficult, and it keeps, almost glaring like a neon light in his face every day. But once he maybe handles his own vibration, that person won't be as much of an irritant. Who knows? Or that person may, but I love that little game too. It's quick and easy, and it's like a quick way to shift your energy on just about any topic.
Yeah, and it's simple. I mean, anyone can do it. It's very much, and most people do it anyway. It's gratitude list, count your blessings. It's all the same thing, just repackaged differently to suit different ways. And there's so many processes, and that's what I wanted to say generally. That I remember Abe saying something along the line. I think he was speaking to the guy a few years ago. It's on one of their DVDs that he's like, "How can I prove the law of attraction? I'm a scientist." And Abe like, well, you can teach it through feelings and emotions, but when you know it, you have a million ways to deliver it to all people, and that's what really stuck with me, because I come up with all these different games, when I coach or teach. I have all these little games, and they're all adaptations of the same thing, so different things will appeal to different people because we're all come at it differently, and that's what I love about it. When you've got the basic knowledge of this, you can apply it in so many different ways in so many different situations. And to see it unfold perfectly, that's what it's all about for me. It's so great.
Well, and we all run up against people that are going to challenge us on different topics. And one of the things that was very freeing for me to hear was that when you're running up against somebody that is challenging on whatever the topic is, they're not going to be in vibrational alignment to hear you anyway. So sometimes it's best just to change the subject at the time, because, especially on a topic like science, well, we know that this is based in science, but it's sort of like, I'm sorry to be jumping around here, but it reminds me of when we on the ship, they gave us all visors, and it says, I'm in the
I love those.
And in our staterooms, we received a little card with it, and it said, when someone asks you what's the vortex, and they said, if you're not in the vortex, don't wear the visor. And if you are, the exact right answer will come. And that's kind of, that little analogy is true on a lot of topics too. It's like when you find yourself running up against somebody that is determined to prove their point or win you over to their side or whatever it is, it's sometimes best to just, let it go and change the subject, because they're not going to be in a place to hear you anyway. So a lot of that is wasted energy.
That is so true. So again, it's just be who you are, be the happy being that you are. Let law of attraction bring those people to you who can hear you, and get happy. Simply.
And that's another thing too, because the funny thing is that the happier you are, the more people that you're going to attract that are happy, and the more miserable you are, it's going to be the same way. It's like all of this is patterns of thought, patterns of behavior, patterns of our emotions, and little games like my 10 favorite things creates this process of shifting your thinking and causing you in all things to be looking for positive things. And pretty soon you're walking around this Pollyanna person, and the people that are negative might not like that, but, they're really not people that you probably want in your life anyway. But you will notice that you start attracting more and more happy people, which is really cool.
Yeah, and because you're happy, they don't care what you bring to the table, because they want to be around you, and whatever you offer them, they'll take, because because of the person of who you are, not what you're offering them. And that's what I love about this work, that people say, oh, they see you thrive and they want a piece of that, and they just like being in your company, and that is enough to distract them and uplift them, and that's so great in and of itself.
Well, here's a little example of law of attraction as we're talking about this today. I have the Money in the Law of Attraction is an iPhone app, and today's card is, I'll read this. It says, things are coming into your experience in response to your vibration. Your vibration is offered because of the thoughts you're thinking, and you can tell by the way you feel what kinds of thoughts you're thinking. Find good-feeling thoughts, and good-feeling manifestations must follow. Make a decision to look for the best-feeling aspects of whatever you must give your attention to, and otherwise look only for good-feeling things to give your attention to, and your life will become one of increasingly good-feeling aspects.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. I love that. God, it's so cute. Finally, I wanted to cover the meditation CD, because I think we've got Janine standing by, so it'll be good to have her on, just catch up with her. The guy, but I love this guy. He was the first guy on the last segment, and he's come close to being homeless and buying a house, and he's like, well, why has no one won the lottery who knows this, and where's the manifestations and stuff? And Abe, that you won't line up with those winners or those people because you're not a vibrational match to it. And I absolutely loved his asking. They also spoke about the meditation CD, and they give a lot of detail about how it works, because I wasn't even aware of this. I've heard it a little bit here and there, but they went into such great detail about the mechanics of it. And they said, well, when creating it, what did they want? And they said distraction. So they wanted to pick slightly abnormal music, which they say is odd in canter. So it's 3 beats of breathing in and 5 beats of breathing out. And it's enough to engage your concentration, but not enough to either put you to sleep necessarily or keep you too out of the meditation process and keep thinking too much. So they give the prompt enough to keep you engaged, which is why when you listen to it, it's music, a bit of speaking, and every so often they'll say breathe in and breathe out. And they said it hits you at a soul level. So when you do it enough, you practice enough, your soul will start resonating with those affirmations, and then that will become your truth, and that's how your vibration will raise. And I thought that was an amazing description of the CD for me.
Exactly. A lot of people are getting, we hear this over and over, how much people are getting out of that, meditation CD. And the thing I like about it is it's broken down into 15-minute segments, because a lot of people don't feel like they have enough time, and so they. So the fact that this is broken down into topics and into categories makes it very easy. For those of you who don't know, this is let's see, what is this? I have it right here on my iPod. So it's Getting into the Vortex Guided Meditations, and there's 4 different categories: general well-being, financial well-being, physical well-being, and relationship well-being. And so depending on where you are, you can choose one of those and take a moment or 15 minutes out of your day, and it's perfect.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring Janine on in 1 minute, because she's been hanging by quite patiently. Is there any words of summary that you wanted to have about this event? Anything that you thought, to someone who's thinking, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? What is it all about? any words of summary or advice that you wanted to give them?
The short answer to that entire seminar is get happy. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. It was a great thing. So I really, I don't have much to say other than what we've already talked about on it. So, and, I'm sure
the energy was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it.
Absolutely.
I didn't think it'd be as crazy energized as it was, but it was just lovely. And all from the comfort of your own home. For me, that's a huge thing because of the schedule I do, and obviously it's in the States. So for me to be just before I went to work buzzing. That was just so lovely.
Very, very nice.
So, is there anything you want to, what I wanted to talk about was making decisions. Like, I mean, I know the basic premise is pick one and line up with it, but is there any advice that you have, or how do you going about making a decision, either if it's two equally good choices or two equally less than good choices? What's your decision-making process knowing law of attraction and knowing what you know now?
This was another one that I loved hearing, and it's, in any situation you may be faced with choices, and their response is don't do anything until you're lining up with one or the other. And so if it's, right or left and you don't know which, then don't move or don't do anything until the right answer comes, because it will. And pushing against, of course, they also say there's no wrong answer, but truly, on some of the big decisions, eventually you will line up with the energy of the right answer if you just allow yourself to trust that that's coming and not push against it. So that's exactly what I do in most cases, and sometimes it can delay decisions that you think need to be made right away, and but if it's not ready to be, a decision is not ready to be made, then the answer is to do nothing. And it may mean, changing the subject for a while, getting off the topic and, meditating, getting some fresh air, depending on the time frame that you have to make the decision. But, a lot of times, there will be an answer that comes that feels like the right one.
So it's true. Out of all the questioners in the hot seat yesterday, was there anyone or anything that stood out for you? Because for me, I love the last three guys. For me, the third session was like off the hook for me. I just really resonated. Was there anyone that you loved in particular, or were they all good to you?
It's I think that you can probably verify or endorse what I'm saying, but it's like each of us are in our lives, we're hearing what is applicable to us at the time. And so I am in the process of doing a lot of creating myself. And so a lot of what I heard, this one and the same on the cruise, that it's, if you've ever had the experience where, for example, you go to church on Sunday and you feel like the minister is making the whole message just for you. That's how these seminars seem to be. And so for me, I just kept hearing over and over that it's done. The creation is done, and that I just need to be in the enjoyment of the process. And so the baby analogy was the one that was really powerful for me, to know that I'm already pregnant with the ideas there. It's already there, and now I just need to concentrate on being in the process of enjoying it unfold and enjoying what's going to be ahead, and imagining that. And so keep lining up with the idea that it is there, it's already done, and being in the creation of the manifestation, not the manifestation itself. And so the other thing is, when this is the question they asked on the ship, that was, is the prize the alignment, or is the prize the manifestation that will come from the alignment? And the answer is the manifestation is the alignment, because it's always about that. It's always about us lining up with who we truly are. And so, I love that analogy that she has a baby, it just hasn't manifested yet. So,
yeah, no, that is very true. And but that's the thing, isn't it? For me, it's not even about the having of it. It's knowing that it's there. And once you're secure in the knowing that it will come, which is what the pregnancy is all about. She doesn't have the child. It's not completely physically manifested, but she's secure in the knowledge that in X amount of times. They spoke a lot about gestation period and letting your manifestations gestate, and you coming up to that place where you're ready to receive it, and the manifestations being kind of vibrationally prepaid. So when you both meet, then you'll both be like, you're the one. Because they speak about that when they speak to people about creating soulmates and relationships. There's so many clips going on in my head that they've spoken to people who are like, I want my soulmate, I want this, like Fred. That's an amazing, anyone just YouTube Fred and Abraham Hicks, and there's this wonderful clip about, she's like, well, don't I get to choose who I fall in love with? And why does the universe say, no, this isn't yours? And they're like, if you were a vibrational match to it perfectly, then that person would be yours. Or when the other person who's meant for you comes up, there will be no doubt. You will both know that you are the one for each other, and that's all tied into the manifestation, letting it go and loosening your view on how it should be, and just trusting that all good things line up. And when you're in that place, all your good things will come to you, and it's letting go of the manifestation. And I think for a lot of new people coming into this, a lot of new people I meet, they say, oh, what have you manifested? What have you manifested? Where's the proof? And that's fine, because obviously they need something to work with. But it comes to a point where you're beyond that manifestation proof, where you know that feeling good is the work, and things unfold on a daily basis for you. But because you're up to speed, it's like, oh, that was, next logical step for me anyway, so that was absolutely no big deal. But 6 months ago, that would have been, because you weren't up to that speed. And, that's what all the prepaid is about, I think.
And when you're talking about the relationship, it reminds me of the meditation CD when they talk about relationships, and they said the most important thing that you need to do is you need to be a vibrational match to what you're attracting. And so while you think about who and what you want, you must become it first, or you can't attract it. And so it always points back to us, and then being a vibrational match is us doing the work first, and the manifestation or the man will come.
Absolutely. So are you going to all the cruises then? I missed that bit. Are you going to Alaska?
Yes, I am, and I wasn't planning on that, and but on the last day of the Panama Canal cruise, I just couldn't stand it, so I'm going again, and I think I'm going to be one of those frequent cruisers, one of those ones that maybe if I see them live, it will be on a cruise ship, and the rest of it will be via live stream, who knows.
Oh, wow.
But it's such a seeing them in person is absolutely fabulous. On the one-day seminars, absolutely no question about it. But when you're on a ship like that in the vortex with everyone else that's
my God,
around the world, that collective energy, and then being out of technological range, no cell phones, no computers, and you're in, nature and the blue waters of Aruba or the glaciers of Alaska, you're already elevated to such a level that you are in such a vibration to receive truly the leading edge material that they're giving you, and so it's just great. And then you go out and you play, and then you come back in and you hear more, and you go, and that's kind of what life is about, is understanding this material and then going out and practically applying in our lives, and then listening to it again, and it's practice and practice. And where the horses can run free and they don't have to work so hard, sometimes we as humans do. So, but that's fine. I love cruising. I love the feeling of that ship, and I couldn't stand the idea of them going without me.
Oh my God, I want to go now. You've done such a good sales job. I'm really like deciding to go to Alaska or not. I mean, we'll see how it pans out.
You know what? Come on, you are there. Picture yourself. Be in the baby of it.
That is true. The other thing is that I've got
sing in the disco without you. Come on.
Oh no, I know. It's killing me because I've also got another Mediterranean holiday to choose from at that point. So, you know, it's kind of like two good decisions. So I'm
you're
seeing
already over there. Can't you do the Mediterranean anytime?
That is true. That is true. So yeah, that's my thing. I mean, I hadn't planned on it. I mean, whatever happens, and
the right answer will come. The right answer will come.
And I know that whatever I choose will all be good. But you know, the live event was just phenomenal, and that was a nice. Wow! And the disco and the dinners with everyone, and you know, that was absolutely phenomenal. And I actually want to do a radio show about cruising for the first time because there's so many questions that have come up that, you know, I want to get a gang or whatever together and just like top tips for first time cruisers because especially if you're traveling from the UK, it can be like, where do I go? Where do I stay? How does the cruise work? Even. So yeah, I definitely want to put a show together with that because I think, you know, it helps a lot of people. I know my first time, I didn't know anyone. None of my friends were going, and I didn't even know about any ABEs, like the ABE forum or the Meetup group, so that was properly on my own. So just to have that resource, it's just nice to help you along your way. So I have to do a radio show for that. So get your notes together for that, and you know, we'll have a good old chit chat about how it all works and stuff. What inspired you to go on your first cruise?
I'm sorry, pardon me?
What inspired you to go on your very first cruise or seminar?
Well, I was, you know, it's kind of like when I began to, you know, I've always been a spiritual seeker and studied a lot of different people along the way. And when I first found out about the work of Abraham, and I got past the fact that it was this woman who called herself Abraham, as they say. That really wasn't a problem for me, but you know. But when I came across the material, I just wanted to see them in person. And the next opportunity was a cruise to Mexico that they were going to be doing. And so,
which year was that?
That was 2009 was the first time. Well, no, was it 2009? I think so. It was a couple of years ago.
Was that your first cruise?
That was the first time I'd seen them live.
I think that was mine as well. How old?
Were you there? Oh wow!
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, it was Mexico, and it was definitely it was January or February or something along.
Right, and again, that was around my birthday time again, and so yeah, so that was my first experience with them, as well as being on a ship with other, you know, it's like you don't have to know anybody when you go because you instantly have, you know, 1,000 friends. That's what I loved about it. And people, even with when people knew I was going to Panama Canal, it's like, who are you going with? I'm going by myself. But, you know, but it's not like I'm going by myself.
Yeah, it's not by, yeah.
When I get there, there's going to be 1,000 of my best friends, my instant new best friends there. So.
Just actually, you make a good point about that. How is your area, law of attraction-wise? There are a lot of meetups. I think, for me, meetup is a really good way because I went to Mike's and Tracy's, and, yeah, that was life-changing for me. And now I run my own. So are there a lot of meetups or any kind of things for ABEs where you're based, or is it mainly Facebook and, you know, YouTube and stuff that you link with?
There are a lot of we have meetups here as well, and I've gone to a couple of them. They're not like right in my area, so I kind of tend to visit. But you know, sometimes there's for me, there's Abraham and there's The Secret, and a lot of people kind of confuse the two, and so I'm pretty much an Abrahamer, and so. As far as the groups go, I have gone and attended, yes, and I'm actually thinking of starting up another one of my own. I used to have a group.
Oh, I think that'd be fantastic.
And I kind of closed it out, but I think I might start again because I'm in a different space than I was before, and so I believe that I'll probably do that again because you're right that meetup groups are fabulous for you know, because it's all already set up and it's perfect. And I'm thinking about there's one that's going to be down in the Bay Area. And there is it's not a meetup group per se, it's a group of Abraham people that I met on the ship, and they do, they're in San Francisco. In fact, she just popped up and sent me an email. How funny is that? I met them on the ship, and they're all from San Francisco, and so every Monday night they have a group. So I've driven, it's about a 2-hour drive for me, but I've driven down there and joined their group a couple of times, and so it's very, anytime you can create a community, it's always very powerful.
Are you familiar with the whole Meetup website and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay, because that actually would be a great show, how to run a meetup, because, I know quite a few people have come to me for advice on how to run it and set the tone, because you've got the actual physical creation of it, but you've also got the vibrational creation of it, which runs differently, and that would extend to attracting members and friends and making it right for you, because you've got the two parts. You've got the setting up the website and putting your thing and putting you out there as a person. But as an organizer, you have to enjoy it for yourself and do things that make you happy, and that's also the vibrational aspect of that, which I've learned because I've been doing it for like a year now. I only do one a month now, but it's a journey.
You absolutely cannot be invested in who's going to show up. You do it for your own enjoyment and for your own for yourself, and people that line up with it will show up.
Exactly, and that's the power of it. I mean, with these radio shows on YouTube, and even Esther and Jerry said when they first started that it's not about getting to the world, it's just about doing our thing and letting whatever happen, and obviously, it's gone phenomenally well for them. So obviously they're in alignment with that, but it wasn't their main intent to get it out there to the numbers. It's just to do their thing. See what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, they say that today, that they don't necessarily need. They're trying to the people that they want, or the people that are attracting the material, and it's a co-creative process, and it isn't for everybody, and there doesn't seem to, you don't have to have a fear that it's going to get too big, or that it's because it just. It's funny. There's like-minded things, and this is what I mean about it being leading edge, because really the people that are attracting this are in the minority at this point, soon to be the majority, I'm sure. But we are leading edge creators that are creating this material. That's good news. And so because our world doesn't necessarily line up with it just yet. That's why it is really good to have a community of like-minded people that you can talk with and be with on a regular basis, that understand you and that support you and love you. And they've talked about this too. When you're in the creation of something and giving energy to it, you want to make sure that you're with like-minded people that are going to support you and uplift you, and not interested in looking for flaws or tearing you down. So that's true in our personal lives as well. Is we want to have, even if you only have a few good friends, that's better than having they say one in the vortex is more powerful than millions that are not.
Yeah, and Cheryl Richardson says it's like going to the hardware store. Go for people who support you and have fun with you, and once you set your tone, then that happens automatically. And that's what I love about the technology these days. You don't even need to leave your bed to connect with bajillions of people out there who are thinking the same way as you, like YouTube and Facebook, and there's so many ways to connect these days, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal.
It's like yesterday, it's like, well, that'll put you in the vortex if all I had to do was come to the kitchen with my pajamas on and get a they're here,
Yeah, no, I mean, that was perfect, because I just literally opened my eyes, turned on my computer, and away it went. I didn't even have to leave my bed, because I literally just woke up for it, but it was absolutely perfect. Cool. Well, I think we've got more than enough show time for our hour show. So any final thoughts, any closing statements you want to make?
I just appreciate that you do this, and that I hope that we can influence someone else along the way, and it's just good to be a part of this. So I appreciate your efforts, and it helps me to be able to have a place to share more and more about it, because energy and energy and energy. It just, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, sweetheart. It's absolutely a pleasure talking to you. And if anyone wanted to get in touch with you for advice or coaching sessions or meetups or anyone in your area, how best would they contact you?
Well, I'm actually going to launch my website this week, but it isn't up yet.
Oh,
but
cool.
they can reach me at lakesandstreams@yahoo.com.
Brilliant. Well, actually, that'd be great to touch base with you next Sunday. But thank you for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Okay. I will talk to you soon.
Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, my love.
Bye.
Bye.